Okay, so 9-week study guide. First section is equations. How do we undo equations? Well, depending on what it is, we do the opposite. Look at that fancy word, inverse operation. Okay, so if this is x divided by 2.2, how do we undo it? We multiply. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2.21. I'm going to squeeze that in there, okay? That cancels this out, so x would be equal to 16.575. Okay, excellent. Subtraction equation, how do we undo it? Addition. So we want to get rid of the number that's with our variable. So plus 19.4 to both sides. So S is equal to 21.4. Excellent. Now, this one's a little bit tricky. It is multiplication, but I don't know if you remember when we did dividing fractions, that dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. So this, we can also look at this as y divided by 2, because we know 1/2 of y is the same thing as taking y and dividing by 2. So I actually want to technically divide each side by 1/2, which would be the same as multiplying by 2. That cancels that out, so y would be equal to 8. And that makes sense, because remember we said the word of means to multiply. So 1/2 of blank is 4. 1/2 of 8 is 4. All right. Number 4 was real hard, right?
Absolutely.
So it's addition. We're going to undo it by subtracting. So F is equal to 1.785. Okay, number 5. A kite is 70 feet in the air. A few minutes later, it ascends, which means it rises to 120 feet. Write and solve an equation to find the kite's change in altitude. So we start at 70, it rises to something, so we're going to say m, that works, okay, and we reach 120 feet. So if we were going to solve that, m would equal what? 50 feet. No, you can use any variable. You could use A, K, any letter of the alphabet. All right, number 6, inequalities. This is still the poster that's hanging up right in front of you. 9 weeks exam for all the subjects at TSGC have less than 50 questions. So we could say exam, what's our key word right there? Less than 50. Was it equal to 50? No, everything was less than. Okay, students must be 48 inches to ride the space shot at the Space Center. So I'm going to say height. Can they be 48 inches? Yes. So we know we've got our equal to part. Can they be less than 48? No. So it's got to be greater than. So height would have to be greater than or equal to 48 inches. And I don't even think I'm going to take that chart down up there. We'll leave it up. All right, graphing inequalities. To me, it's easier if you go ahead and write your inequality first. Basketball team has a record of 4-22. The team has scored less than 25 points in every game. Do we care what their record is? No. We don't even need that information, okay? Team scored less than 25 points, so points and 25, what sign would I use? Less than, because it actually tells me less than 25 points. So if I were to graph it, I'm going to put 25 right here in the middle. Let's do 24, 23. What? Wrong way, guys. Ooh, my brain. 26, 27. Let's go 24 and 23 this way. Okay, so what kind of circle do we put on 25? Open or closed? Open. Open, because it's not equal to. And which way do we shade? To the left. It's pointing the direction we shade, so everything to the left. Now, tomorrow in your test, you won't actually be creating the graph, but you will have to identify one that's done correctly. Okay. Each person made 5 or more mistakes on their test. The average was a 78. Do we care what the average was?
No.
No. The only thing we can graph is the 5 or more. So 5 or more mistakes on their test. So we're going to say mistakes and 5. Can it be equal to?
Yes.
Okay. And what other sign? Greater than. So mistakes were greater than or equal to 5. 5 in the middle. Let's do 6, 7, 4, 3. Open or close circle?
Close.
Excellent, because it's equal to and everything to the right.
Doesn't matter what numbers I got that right.
It doesn't matter what numbers you put. And tomorrow you're not going to be creating your own. You're going to have to find the one that's done correctly. So,
Will there be a medium or range?
is that on your study guide? We did not do that fourth 9 weeks. Yeah, that was third 9 weeks. Okay, determine which number is the solution to the given inequality. Will 7 work?
Yes.
Because 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 is less than 15. Will 8 work?
No.
Okay, and we know 9 won't if 8 work. Okay, find the area of the rectangle. The formula is A equals, you could do length times width or area equals base times height. So we've got 5.6 times 14.7, and that would give me what?
82.32 inches.
Inches squared.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's amazing.
any questions on page 1? Good?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let's look at page 2. Area of a trapezoid, okay? Formula is height. Okay, I heard several people saying it. Excellent job. Okay, which one is my height? 10, very good. My bases are 12 plus 20 divided by 2.
Which equals 160 units.
160 units, love it, squared. Okay. Area of the triangle, the formula is,
B is 10 divided by 2.
okay. What is my base? 10. What is my height?
12
Divided by 2, and that would be inches squared. Okay. Area of the parallelogram, base times height. Okay. So what is my base?
15.
Okay, 15. What is my height? 5. It's not 7. Remember, we don't ever measure our height standing crooked. So what is it? 75 centimeters squared. Okay. Now, the shapes at the bottom were the ones we had to divide up and then add back together. So I, just looking at this one initially, would probably divide here and here. If you did it differently, that's fine as well. Okay, we have the measurements for both of these sides. So what's the area of this rectangle? 6. Okay, if this whole length is 6, this part's 2, this part's 2, what's this?
2.
So each of them become 2. Okay? Because look, this section right here is 2. This section's 2. So 2, 4, 6. All right. So this side would have an area of 8. And looking at this one, if this whole length is 3 and this part is 1, what is this? 2. So this would be 4. So our area would be 18 feet squared. Yes. How did I get 8? 4 times 2. Even if you did it the other way, because you would still have, if we divided it here, this would be 2. 1 times 2. Okay. This would be 2 times, yeah, so that'd be 4. And then this one across the top would be 2 times 6, 12. So it'd still be 18. Okay? All right, here we go. Next one. I'm just going to divide right here. Okay, so looking at the bottom here, we have 1 times 2.3, so the area is 2.3. Looking at this one, we have 3.1, but is this line 4.6? No, what is it?
5.
Yes, because we have that little tiny part we've got to add in there, so this becomes 5.6. So what is 3.1 times 5.6? We got quiet. Should have 129.3. Oops, nope, that's not right. I put an extra number in there. 2.3 times. Yes. 17.36. Okay, so that's the area of this rectangle. Then looking at the top, we know across the top is 12.2. But looking at this side, I know the whole side is 11.8, but I only need from here to here. So I've got to get rid of this section and this section. So I'm going to start off with 11.8 minus 2.3 minus 3.1, and that would give me 6.4. Multiply that by 12.2. That'll give me 78.08. Now we just have to add them together. Plus 17.36 plus 2. Whoops. We get 97.74 meters squared. Oops, sorry. Paper sliding. Any questions on that one? You see how we kind of had to break it apart and look at it like a puzzle to figure out which sides were which? Okay. All right, we good on page 2? Okay. Okay, let's move on to page 3. All right. At the top, Don used the shoebox to create a home for the toad he caught. What is the volume of the shoebox? Volume is length times width times height. And it would be what? Okay, so that would be 10 times 18, times 9, 1620. Very good. Okay, surface area of the rectangular prism. Okay, I'm sorry, triangular prism, yes. You may need to draw a net to help solve the problem. You could draw a net. I want to show you the easiest way to do this. How many triangles do I have on the shape? 2. I have the front and I have the back. So to find the area of my triangle, we have base times height divided by 2. And I have 2 of those. Okay? So let's do that real quick.
You could just do base times height divided by 2 once.
Yep.
So then you don't have to do it again.
That'd be 35.1.
Okay.
Find the surface area.
Right, we're not doing the volume. So 35.1. Okay, we have 2 of those. Now, how many rectangles do I have? This side, and the bottom. So we have 3 rectangles. To find the area of my rectangle, it's going to be 9 times 6, which is 54. Okay? So if I have 2 of these, that would be 70.2. And 3 rectangles, that would be 162. Add that together. 232.2 units squared. Now, if you wanted to draw a net, you could have, we would have triangle here, 3 rectangles, and another triangle here. But if you can visually look at it and know I have 3 shapes that are exactly the same, and I have 2 triangles that are exactly the same. Yes? Yeah, the net is the unfolded shape. Yeah, the net is just unfolded. Okay, here we go, number 17. Number 17 is a little bit tricky. Storage trunk is 5 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 4 feet tall. How much wood is needed to make the trunk? Here's your key word, guys, right here. Storage. Why is that a key word? How many of you found volume? If you found the volume of this trunk, could you put anything in it?
No.
It'd be a solid wood block. So what you're looking for is surface area. Because if you find surface area, it's not the inside, it's just the wood on the outside. If you found the volume, you'd have a solid piece of wood, okay? So let's look at this. If we have a trunk, and let's draw, we'll go ahead and do a net on this one, okay? So we've got, I gotta add some more here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. We have 6 sides on a rectangular prism. Okay? So we know it is 2 feet wide, 4 feet tall, and 5 feet long. Okay? So remember, if this side is 2, what is this side? 2. So the area of this would be 10. This side matches this side. Okay? Area of this side is 8. This side matches this side. Okay? If this is 4, and I'm coming in here, so this is 4, and this is 5, this is 20, so that matches that side. So now we add them together. 10 plus 20 is 30, 40, 60 plus 16, that would be 76 feet squared. That one's kind of a tricky one because the storage trunk is the biggest thing. Because think about it, if you make a trunk, the inside of it is not made of wood, okay? If the inside were made of wood, you couldn't store anything inside of it. Just the outside, just, yeah. Exactly, yep. Okay, last section, real quick, a few more equations. As you can tell, what are you going to have a good bit of on your, yep. Okay, it's addition. How do I undo addition? Subtraction. Okay, so x is equal to what?
34.2.
34.2. Okay, this is division. How do I undo division?
Multiplication.
So both sides multiplied by 42. P is equal to
4284.
4,284. Hey guys, make sure you're listening. Do I know? It'd be 102 times 42.
Got the right answer.
Okay, here we go. This is subtraction. How do I solve it? Addition. Okay, R is equal to 130. Okay, R divided by 16. How do I solve it? So times 16 on both sides. 112. This is multiplication. How do we undo it?
Division.
Divided by 7.5. 4.8. Okay. And here we go. Plus 1/3. This is getting fuzzy. There we go. Plus 1/3. How do we undo it?
Subtraction.
So minus 1/3 to both sides. R is equal to 1/6. And the last one, subtraction, we undo it with
Addition.
addition. Plus 1/9 to both sides.
1127.
There we go. You will be able to use your calculator on everything. It is multiple choice. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I believe there's about 25 questions. All right. Are there any other questions, guys?